Good morning. It's Friday, February 28th, last day of the month, 6 a.m. Central Time. We got a beautiful sunrise going on in the Gulf of America. I had a lot of people correct me here. Still dropping that M word, and people are right here. It is the Gulf of America here. So thanks for joining me here today. I'm Philip Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. Let's get you ready for the trading day. Let's look at precious metals, futures, commodity markets. So looking at the precious metals overnight, they are weaker following yesterday's sell-off in equities, new tariffs in China, and the broad-based liquidation in markets. So we will have a key inflation data report coming out at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, and that's really going to determine the direction of stocks in a lot of these markets for the remainder of the day. So the overnight ranges here, you do have gold futures slipping again. The overnight high, 28.96. Not good that we weren't above that 2,900 level. We want to get back above that to really change the direction of this market here. So down 20 bucks, 28.75 last. High in the overnight session, 28.96. Low, 28.62. It is about the middle of the session right now, down $20. You do have May silver down about 38 cents here, 31.73 last. Overnight high, 31.93. Got to get back above 32. And then 31.53.5 is going to be that low. Looking at copper futures, down about 5.5, trading at 456. Overnight high, 459. Overnight low, 452. You do have platinum down $10 at 947. Palladium futures down 280 at 912. And the gold silver ratio pushing back up over 90 to 1 at about 90.5 to 1 right now. You do have the dollar index up just a bit here. Had a big boost here yesterday. We also saw U.S. equity markets really sell off quite a bit here. So the stocks turned negative here. This is on Thursday after President Trump. He said 25% tariffs on Canada, on Mexico are going into place on March 4th, and he would impose another additional 10% tariffs on Chinese imports. And I think it was that rhetoric that really took things down. You saw the S&P 500 fell about 95 points. That's 1.5%. The Dow fell 200 points. NASDAQ down 530. So that was the big mover and shaker here. You saw a lot of the tech stocks closing some of the gaps, like things like Palantir, and you saw NVIDIA really reverse lower after pushing up in the overnight session. So the Russell 2000, it declined about 34.5 points. So some headlines to follow. China vows all necessary measures against these new U.S. tariffs here. China threatened to retaliate against the U.S. after Trump said additional tariffs on Chinese imports. So the new tariffs again taking place on March 4th, and we saw shares in China and then the yuan. They also had sold off and raises concerns about the economic growth and the potential for a damaging trade war. So that's why you get a lot of the agricultural markets selling off. You get copper kind of pulling back some of its gains here after there was the potential for these import tariffs on copper imports. So that's what pushed prices up. But then you get these Chinese tariffs and they take prices down. So you look at Bitcoin shifting over there down about 3,000 bucks, trading right around 80,000 right now. Did dip below that 79,000 for a brief moment. So it is 25% off of the all-time highs. And really these investors are rushing into safe haven assets. So you're seeing the dollar go up. You're also seeing that 10-year treasury yield come down, and they're going into bonds and 10-year notes here for the safety play. So you did see Bitcoin, it hit an all-time high about 6 weeks ago. It fell now 20% in February, and it's declined all the way through here the month of February, and it marks the largest monthly decline since June of 2022. You have gold futures now. They are on the worst track of the year, worst week of the year. The crazy thing about gold is that Monday, we were hitting an all-time high. You go into yesterday's session, the beginning of the session, you go to the overnight part, we were at $29.35. We fell $44. Had we gone up $44, we would have made a new all-time high in gold. So it's amazing how these markets, they take the elevator up, or I'm sorry, the escalator, the stairs up, and they take the elevator down. So we see that across the board in a lot of different markets here, and it's regardless of what market it is. So you got the US dollar that had strengthened, and that was really the turn that we saw in that gold market. So now investors are really focused on that US core, that personal consumption, the PCE index that's coming out, and it's really the clues that we're going to get for monetary policy going forward. If it looks like we're going to get cuts, if it looks like it comes in hotter, things like that, it's really that monetary policy path. So you do have US stock futures. They are rising a bit, And that core PCE data is supposed to show a 2.6% increase through January, and that's again going to impact the interest rates and the investor sentiment. You have crude oil futures pulling back. Nice move yesterday to the upside in crude oil futures. We had a lot of people that have been playing that back to the upside. Now you got to pull back in that market. People might come back into that market. So it was China and it was peak concerns they were intensifying. So there was a report that came out and said said oil consumption in China, it contracted last year, raising the prospect that they had reached this like peak consumption. So crude oil usage, it fell 1.2% in 2024, and that was our National Bureau of Statistics, and that's what came out here in the overnight session, putting crude oil lower. You do have wheat futures. It is set for its largest weekly loss on a supply outlook. So wheat futures, if you look at that one, pulling back quite a bit here. Its biggest weekly decline in about 8 months. We're talking about supply concerns, fell about 6% this week. So American farmers looking to plant a little bit more wheat here, and that came out in a report as well. A lot of people ask me about agricultural markets. That's what came out on my radar here, was one of the markets that I was looking at, start looking at some trend lines. Where are we bouncing and looking at other opportunities outside of the metals markets, outside of the U.S. equities, and outside of that crude oil market. So all eyes are going to be on the PCE inflation data, income and spending, and then you will have one Fed member coming out and talking here later today. So a lot of stuff coming out here. Remember, when it comes to futures and commodity trading, it tends to be, what is your time frame on a lot of these things? Because I haven't seen any analysts take down their expectations on gold looking out to the end of the year. If we did get this sell-off here, things like Goldman Sachs, they are still looking at about a $3,100 price target. I think a lot of people rushed into that market here trying to buy the breakout, thinking that we're going to move up to 3,000 pretty quickly. We've had that setback here, and now you got gold futures kind of hovering right around a neutral stance. So if you look at gold, it is still bullish in trend. You have copper bullish in trend. Silver has gone more neutral. Platinum is going into a short, as well as palladium. So gold futures sitting right on that critical level, about 28.70 here is your line in the sand where you don't want to see it close below, because a lot of times we're going to see it pull back to about that 2800, what puts it right at that 50-day moving average. You go to the silver market, has really gone neutral. So we don't want to see a breakdown here below about 31, call it 68 to 56, somewhere in that pocket support. You really don't want to see it close below 31.50 on that May contract, because that could take it down and we could start breaking down to $30.37. Now we'll look at the double bottom around $29.58 on that May contract. You have platinum futures. They need to get back above 977. That's going to be your 50-day moving average. And then copper futures kind of consolidating here, looking at those import tariffs, and will Trump implement that Section 232 on those import tariffs. So the line in the sand, I really think on the copper market, closer to 445, and I covered all that on CNBC. I'll drop that link there in the Metals Edge if you get that report. If you got any questions, futures option trading, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Remember, futures and option trading, it does involve risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading, have a great weekend. Thanks, bye-bye.